Dali boti industry sipike juu kabisa.
Pale kwa ozone. Kwa ozone layer.
Wala kupimia boti yako pale lafaa kufika.
On the same page, tunapata Ruto urged to engage farmers in tree planting plan.
I've seen also a lot of universities and tertiary schools taking up the initiative to plant trees. We have Murang'a University doing that with its students, which is very, very commendable. Unajua tukapanda biti kama vile walikuwa wanasema kasi kwa vijana itakuja. Vijana wapate kasi ya kupanda biti. Nilikuwa limeona hiyo as a very, very good idea.
It is a good idea.
Lakini nikajiuliza Nairobi kasi kwa vijana. Watu wa Nairobi hawatakuwa na kasi kwa sababu wakula pahali ya
itabidi wasafiri to the neighboring counties.
Neighboring counties ziko la vijana. Kila kijana akae kwa kaunti yake apate kasi kwa kaunti yake.
Sasa wa Nairobi waende wapi?
Wapande biti hapo Uhuru Highway. You know, Nairobi iko congested sana. It is very, very congested. So if you are to think of every place has youth and people who can work kwa kama hiyo kazi kwa vijana. Lakini in Nairobi watapanda biti wapi?
Hakuna kwa kupanda
flat.
Na State House kuna shamba.
Sasa tuende tupande biti State House.
Yes.
Tunataka forest ama tunataka biti kila bahali. Hatuwezi panda place moja. Kama ni Nairobi County, ni the whole of Nairobi County, vijana wapate kazi. Wewe unataka vijana wa State House studio wapate kazi.
Si wa State House, wa Nairobi waende wapande State House, wapande katika bunge.
Sasa
Supreme Court kuna shamba.
Ndio nauliza how many people will be employed with that initiative. Unaona, the idea is to get people engaged, to get people busy. Unaona sai crime rate inafanywa wadhara. There's a video ilikuwa ila go round on social media. Yenye walikuwa uliona msungu fulani hapo wamepigwa jogolo mbele ya watu hadharani.
Ilikuwa ni Nairobi ama ni Eldoret?
Siko sure ilikuwa wapi, lakini iko Kenya hapa Kenya tu.
Kwa sababu kuna maeneo mengi ambayo yamekumbana na mambo haya ya utovu wa usalama. Most places in Nairobi, was in Gishu pia. Actually it is almost everywhere. Hata huku Murang'a. I think kuko vizuri at least. Sijui.
Hawezi jua, utajua ikitaka kufanyikia. Sahi haujui.
Waliniangukia na pale Nakuru. Why?
Walikupatia character development karibu Nakuru. Nilikwambia haba Nakuru. Nakuru, a very bad place.
A good place for me to live.
Hakuna security.
Kuko sawa kabisa.
Anyways, on page 4, Kenya to import 10 bags of GMAs to fight hunger, Korea says. What do you think about that?
Importing 10,000 bags. But I think it is a good idea at one point, because it is not a lifetime thing that ambayo itakuwa pale. So kulingana na information ambayo nimeona Moses Kuria amewachilia ni ya kwamba it will not be for lifetime. It will not be forever. It is only for the period of time ambayo tuko na this food crisis.
So tuseme around hapo 6 months hivi.
So tukishamalizana na shughuli, mvua ikinyesha vizuri, tukiweza panda vizuri, so that we may be having enough food, let us do away with it.
So ndio najiuliza. Now what happens to our farmers, our local farmers? Unajua say they are going and wataenda harvesting. What happens to our local farmers if we decide to import maize from wherever it is we import it from?
Currently, the reason why ukiangalia like kama this year kujanyesha, so it means ya kwamba mashamba yetu hayana chakula. Si ndio? So and if mashamba hayana chakula saizi, it means this situation, it is most likely to continue until next year, hadi wakati watu watafanya nini? Watavuna. Because you understand that some places where mostly huwa na depend na mahindi, it is a one season, which takes from 6 months to 9 months or even a year for that season ya mahindi. So but some places like ambazo huwa zinakuzwa viazi, it takes at least 3 to 6 months. Yes.
Okay.
So it might take a whole year. Yeah.
So that story is on page 4. The cabinet lifted a 10-year suspension against generic modified crops last month. The CS announcement elicits mixed reaction with opposition leader opposed to it. Unajua GMO tumekuwa tukikataa kabisa.
Yeah.
Iko la madhara yake. Now sahi tuko kwa drought, tukiabua go that way, it's because we don't have an option of how we're going to do. But I think the best way is it has to be maybe short-term thing, so that our farmers can be empowered, maybe with subsidized fertilizers, you know, farm crop, the things they need in the farm, you know, so that they are able to get the food security back. And another thing, as I always say, we have to diversify our diet. Hii babo ya kula ugali
kila siku,
ugali la siku pa wiki kila siku. Unaweza kula mchele, unaweza kula biazi,
unaweza kula mihogo. Yes.
So hiyo itasaidia in to help curb the food insecurity issue, at least for a while. So but it has a very, very mixed reaction on matters that the GMO.
Yeah.
So it has been taken a lot of mixed reaction. There are people who appreciate it because of the situation we are in right now, but there are people who are fighting it and saying it might not be as healthy as we think it is. So hapo utaleta ile kitu ya when the deal is too good, take twice.
When the deal is too good, think twice. Okay. So then hapa nipo huwa nasema ya kwamba like in this situation, because wakati COVID-19 ilikuja, we learned lesson. And we came up with the ways on how tunaweza endelea na maisha yetu, si ndio? And that's when, by the way, do you remember before COVID-19, most of the hospitals, they had no ICU beds. But leo hii, hauhitaji kusafirishwa to the neighboring county. Wako nazo kwa wingi. So it was one thing ambayo watu wali learn. Now, here we are. This is drought. This is famine. We are in it. So, we need a permanent solution on how we shall deal with this issue. Because tukisema, well, tutaleta GMO saizi. Right?
Yes.
Next year tuendelee na maisha yetu ya kawaida. But do we have a permanent solution ambayo ya kwamba hata kuwe na kiangazi will still feed ourselves? Sindio? Yeah. Those are irrigation ifanyike. Tuliona nani the cabinet secretary for water and irrigation akisema ya kwamba watu ambao wanatumia maji watafanya nini? Watalipa more for the construction of 100 dams. Hizi damu wacha zikuje zitusaidie kufanya irrigation. At least hata kukiwa na kiangazi, we don't feel it. Ile shida itakuwa tu ni ile unachomwa na jua, unatembea bila shati.
Sahi unajua kula so many Kenyans ambao hawakuli 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
3 meals a day ni luxury. Alafu unajua sahi vile bei ya unga imepanda juu. Kitambo likiwa mtoto tulikuwa tunakula chapati. Unaona kama Disemba hivi vile Disemba inakuja. Unajua chapati iko kwa wingi jibali.
Na mnaamka asubuhi mapema 6.
Natengeleza. Saizi unajua unaweza kula chapati 1 week la usikule ugali. Ugali is a privilege. Ugali unapika ukiwa na wageni. Na wasipite watatu.
Wakipita watatu wakuja na unga.
Wakipita watatu
wakuja na unga.
Wakuja wamalize kazi yao waende. Si lazima wakule. Wakule pale wametoka.
By the life is hard.
It is very hard for everybody. Even in the institutions, even in schools, we've had problems where pupils were coming to school because that's where they would have something to eat because of the food program.
There are some even in some counties unapata watoto wanahama from their counties to the neighboring counties ambazo zinapeana ziko na food programs. At least yule mtoto aende akule. So hawezi somea shule yao. Atasomea shule yao walale njaa shinde njaa.
It is better wala wacha shule ya kula chakula. Motivation ya kwenda shule ni chakula. So I think it's a very big thing, and everyone who wakes up early in the morning to go do your hustle is also experiencing the same thing. we're all getting out there, so that we are able to provide for our families. We are able to take care of them. We are able to get food on the table.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard thing. But so we are waiting on the government to see how they're going to handle this situation. And in fact, looking at it right now, Peter, you might say that probably the government's or the government ideas are misplaced. They are measuring more so on the minors right now.
Yeah.
We should be measuring more on how we're getting our food security, how is our economy getting balanced, so that we are able to have a unified kind of community where everything is not bei ya vitu si gali, vitu zimerudi chini kidogo, lola. Maisha ileza soga bele, rather than us thinking right now at this stage, thinking of things like maybe changing the constitution, changing the presidential term. I think right now it's that time to lower the Kenyans' living standards. Right now we should see how we are going to beat food insecurity. We should see how our climate, we are changing the effects of the climate change, and what we are going to do for our people. We need to know how we are going to reduce the crime rate. And the only shortcut to reduce the crime rate is by offering opportunities for these young people. So that because everybody wants to survive. Mtu anakuona hapa huko la sibu kubwa la yaja kula siku mbili. Akupiga kofi ya bacho wewe. Sibu yako imeenda.
So, you know? Na ni kwa sababu ya njaa.
Ninja, you know. It's a man-eat-man society right now, and it's getting hard, it's getting hot. We are just noticing it, but I think the government should prioritize some of these things rather than talking about changing the constitution and all that. Yeah. What do you think?
Because I don't think because I think we are not supposed to focus much on things which they are not helpful to the common mwananchi. Let us deal with this crisis because it is a crisis. Kitu ambacho kitafaidi Mkenya wa kawaida. Because when we talk about like doing some kind of things like changing of constitution, it is something that it is adding burden to Kenyans who are very tired. And even kuwakosea heshima wa Kenya ambao walikuchagua. Instead uende uwahudumie, umeanza kuleta mambo zingine haziwasaidii,
kabisa.
Vitu za bure.
Kabisa. Unaweza takasirika ujiulize kweli. That's why you find that the more reason why the turn up ya election ilikuwa very poor, in fact among the youths, because they go through this kind of frustrations. Elect a leader to go represent your problems down there. Akifika huko, he wants to be a hero or look good amongst his bosses. Anatusahau sisi watu wa basilaji hapa. Ameanza kufikiria ideas ya vitu zekile. Very totally different from what we sent him to do. So you ask yourself, I took time to
vote for this
person to get into the office to represent my problems and stuff, but rather what I'm receiving now is different. We are giving you roses, in return you're giving us thorns. Haiwezekani.
Ni ngumu. It is very hard.
I think it's high time that we Kenyans put our representative on check. They should find a way of being accountable for their actions or something of that sort. Or else we'll be having bills and after bills, and by the time you realize there's nothing much happening. There's a story here on page 5 that is a very interesting story. Besigye urges Kenyans to defend democracy. Shun negativity. Let me take that back. Sorry. Besigye urges Kenyans to defend democracy. Shun negative politics. You know, Besigye wants over MP's proposal to amend the law and remove presidential term limits. He claims that Uganda has one of the worst records of human rights violation. And this is what he had to say, if I might quote that. He said, "We are keeping a close eye on you because you Kenyans are leading the democratic process, and any reversal will harm those who are looking to the country for inspiration." That is Kizza Besigye, that is Uganda's opposition leader.
Kizibisi.
Amesumbuka huko Uganda sana. Amesumbuka.
Wamemuonyesha mambo.
Ameteswa huko Uganda. Bara ndege yake ikikuja Nairobi isirudi Uganda. Bara lili, bara ako na house arrest, bara ako na lili. Sasa ukisikia amelia about democracy, I think they don't really
understands.
They don't really realize it huko sana Uganda.
Wakiwa na Bobby Wine.
Wakiwa na Bobby Wine anaitwa Robert.
Na hiyo jina nyingine inaitwa inakuwa ngumu. Chegulanyi.
Robert.
Inakuwa ngumu. Sasa naona naweza nitamke vibaya.
Umeita tu Bobby Wine.
Bobby Wine. Yeah.
Bobby Wine. In fact, if you at the lifestyle segment today, we are going to be talking more of artists and politics and the impact of what they've done, what they've not done, what they ought to do. So that will be on our third segment. That will be the lifestyle segment. Yep, you don't touch that down. Just keep it there, and we'll enlighten you more on that.
On another story on page 3 of the Daily Nation, we find that the rich also cry.
Wanalia kabisa.
Wanalia.
Kwa Range Rover.
A case of a sauna experience gone awry. So this whereby this person called Mr. Timothy Biara explains how he recovered from second-degree sauna burns. So, relaxing at club turned into nightmare. A member's husband is demanding damages. Yeah. So this whereby this person was this victim, Mr. Timothy Biara, was in a sauna, but he experienced some burns. Right? Victims was severely injured due to excess heat and extremely hot air. Yes.
Hizo ni basida ya matajiri. Lichobeka kwa sauna.
Mkenya wa kawaida haelewi sauna ni nini.
Mkenya wa kawaida sauna ni nini?
Sauna naona kwa movie.
Sauna ni nini?
Naona kwa movie.
Wakifanya nini?
A certain place whereby there is kind of like water but there is a steam. Yes.
Moto kabisa. Una sweat kabisa.
Una sweat.
I don't think how comfortable is it. Pengine kama mtu anaweza sponsor liende hapo nisikie how comfortable that thing is. Kama joto ya kawaida kutoka kwa jua ndio ikikuchoma unasikia vibaya. Sasa sikia umeenda kujiweka kwa steam.
Kwa steam yenyewe.
So but it's quite unfortunate that ilimfanyikia hivyo. That we are happy about that.
And in this newspaper, the Daily Nation, that page, the whole of that page, it covers about the sauna. So kuna another story here about the sauna culture. Mtu mmoja anasema my unforgettable moments in Finland. Reason what happened when our host sent us the program for our stay in Helsinki, Finland, I was intrigued by an entry at the end of a busy Wednesday finishing sauna experience. Yes.
Just to highlight some of the stories on the Standard, still under national news, state regulator at pains to rein in contractors as buildings fall. So on this page 8, they've given you an explainer of why buildings collapse.
So that's what we shall be looking at then second segment.
So on the second segment, you'll be having Peter look at this in an in-depth situation. Yes. Ruaka couple killed after building collapses. That is still on the same story.
Painful story.
Very, very painful story.
Because of some people's negligence.
Unajua akula kitu baya sahi tulalia ati vijana kula unemployment issue in Kenya. Unaamka asubuhi unajituba unaenda kwa building.
Kwa mjengo.
Uende mjengo utegeleze pesa yako uipate. Mwishowe building inaanguka due to negligence or greed that is brought by some people. And you know, nimerealize in fact this building wanakuaga wamekatazwa, wanaambiwa hapo mali umefika ni sawa, usiendelee tafadhali. Lakini ignorance, greed, love for money
inawaambia tuendelee.
Na unatu cost, you're costing us.
My question is, well, unataka pesa mingi, sikatai. Because like this one, yenye ilianguka, it is a building of a story, how many stories? 5, 6. 6 of them. Tuseme labda alikuwa ameambiwa inafaa ifike 4. 2 alikuwa anaongeza za nini? Sasa amepoteza everything. Whatever that he had, he has lost. si ndio?
Inaumisa sana. We are not even worried of what that person has lost. We are
worried of these lives.
Yes, the lives. These are brilliant minds. Masonry.
And it is unfortunate that hiyo nyumba iliangukia nyumba ingine ambayo a couple walikuwa someone's father, someone's mother.
Quite unfortunate. But we pray that everything gets back to normal. But we'll be talking more of that on our next segment. Now, just because of time, we won't be able to review the whole newspaper, but it's a very good. It has a lot of interesting stories. Just to a little bit highlight on the sports. Conservative Qatar ready for World Cup party. Uliona Qatar wamesema ukikuwa msichana usiende hapo ubevaa vest, ubevaa nguo fupi, sijui unavaa short zile dogo dogo, sijui lili, hapana.
Vaa zile nguo za
do not show us your skill. Hakuna kuonyesha cleavage huku.
Vaa zile nguo mrefu za huwa tunaziita za kufuririda.
Respectable clothes.
Yes.
Ndio kwa bali nimegundua Wakenya wengi wajaenda huko. Because hawana marriage certificate.
Marriage certificate is a concern.
Right. Qatar has put a lot of sanctions, and it's recommendable, and it's respectable, because this is their culture. This is what they do. So if you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do.
Yeah.
Now that is what they had to say. If you are a lady and you're going there, you have to dress appropriately. But skirt long as ikusike, skirt ikwe below the knees. Kuwacha cleavage haikubaliki. Sijui ukipenda muvae kileja, wache macho peke yake hivi.
Do you know, okay, going on matters to do with marriage certificate, we as Kenyans, it is our norm, or even I might say that it is our culture to run the last minute. So leo, labda ndio utapata kwa AG, wamepanga laini hivi.
Wajipeleke huko, lakini ni baya sana leo. Ni gumu.
So na kama wewe ni mwalimu, the TSC has to hire 30,000 teachers in January.
That's good news.
Yes,
good news. A lot of teachers.
So walimu 30,000 teachers watapata kazi. So, and you remember that this is Machogu, that is the minister for the CS for Education, who said so, explains that the current economic situation could not allow the president's promise to hire 116,000 tutors to be fulfilled at once. Okay, president promised to for 116,000 teachers to be employed. But wamesema kwanza watachukua phase 1, 30,000. That is January. Waendelee hivyo hivyo. Tuwe na walimu kwa wingi.
But it's a good initiative.
Yes.
So that kusikwe na overstretched us, to avoid us overstretching resources and stuff. And my director tells me we are out of time for this segment. So we'll be taking a short break, and we'll be coming back with Matters Politics on the second segment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Morning Dew Show here on DAESAK TV, the cradle of goodness. And we are now going to our second segment, as we promised, that we are going to be talking about these buildings and what is really happening and why this is happening. So welcome to our second segment.
Yeah, and you can just send us your message through our or via our social media handles. That is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Zote ni DAESAK TV, and also you can just send us your text message on the SMS number running down on your screen. Yes, and today on this segment we are just looking at what we can call the negligence of some people, selfishness, call it anything, because you find that in recent days tumekuwa na haya mambo ya building collapsing. Yesterday there is a building that collapsed in Ruaka, Kiambu County. So you can just imagine, take this. These people ni watu ambao walikuwa it is somebody who is selfish, somebody who neglects whatever that he has to do, somebody who don't care about the lives of people. And this manner, unapata nyumba ilianguka. So can you just imagine that scenario?
It is very bad, and it is also the story. It's also a story that is on the front page of the Standard today, and it is said here that since 1990s, more than 200 people have lost their lives in cases where buildings have come tumbling down. The national buildings have come tumbling down. That is more than 200 people lost in such kind of accidents.
More than 200 people within a span of maybe 20 years, 20 to 30 years.
And that is, it's just it's an assumption. It's not the actual number. So there might be more casualties than that. So the National Construction Authority blames rogue contractors who defy orders to abandon condemned projects. Yet others have blamed the lack of unified construction policy. So we'll be taking time to look this in depth, and on the Standard it continues on page 8 and 9. So ni bias side inaumiza roho. In fact inaumiza roho kwanza kama the contractor was not serious. Unajua kama contractor alikuwa anakula pesa, sibiti anaituba sibiti ya 50 bags kwa site kuna only 30 bags. It is all about greed, all about you don't want to worry about other people, you're more self-centered, and that is the problem that is killing us right now. Unaona, kila mtu anataka ku show off, kila mtu anataka, but everyone in this society has a role to play. That's why figures say to azifanani, asitosani.
Ni kuna kubwa na ndogo.
Kuna kubwa, kuna dogo. It just shows you how the society is. We shall not all be on the same level, but in all our different levels and in all our roles, we are important. Naona?
Yes.
Factions za mkono na factions za kichwa are different, but joined together and everyone working in unison, we move along. So it is very hurting that we are losing people, innocent people who came out to build the nation.
Ebu sikiliza hapa. Hiyo building, the 6-story building that collapsed in Ruaka yesterday was condemned, but officials continued receiving bribes from developer.
Sasa si hiyo ndo kitu nilikuwa nasema hapa. Greed kwa Kiswahili ile. Unajua Kiswahili la kwaga ila lisopoa.
Ni ulafi.
Ulafi.
Yes.
Ulafi. Wako la ulafi ya pesa. So imagine the contractors and the officials, they already knew that this was a risk. But there's someone hapo dali alakula bribe. I don't know how tufanye hivi Peter. Limeona tufanye hivi. Niko na idea.
Ilete.
Tufanye hivi. Wajenzi wote pia wapatiwe body cam.
Ati?
Wajenzi wote wapatiwe body cam. Kama polisi vile walisema watapewa body cam. KRA officials vile walisema watapewa body cam. Watu wa kujeka.
Pia wao wapewe.
Pia wapewe.
For their own safety.
For their own safety. To all what is really happening. But that's hiyo pia limeona kama itasaidia kwa sababu whoever is giving the bribe are not the fundis,
the owners.
Maybe the contractors and the developers. Now you don't know where they'll meet and talk about this. But ni uchungu sana.
Kwa sababu naangalia
sijui kama liole mjenzi the developer mwenye flat. Sijui limole yeye uruba ama liole walio athirika uruma ama nione ule contractor hana kasi tena limole uruba. But in the long run
hapa ni watu wawi. Okay, contractor si sana, because contractor anafaa akisema enough is enough, because I get to understand that a contractor, it is someone ambaye anafaa kujua hii area building haifai kupita orofa 5. Hii area building haifai kupita hata orofa 1.
So that is why he is included. Yeye ni suspect number 1.
Kuna engineer ambaye ali approve ujenzi wa hiyo nyumba.
Hiyo ni contract. No, but in this case umesema walikataswa.
Yes. Lakini
wakaamua kuendelea
kutoa hongo.
It's quite unfortunate.
So because if it was condemned, so najaribu kuimagine hapa like ninaona kuna jamaa hapa anaitwa Patrick Karomo ambaye alipoteza brother Frederick Kamau displays the photos of their parents Peter Njuthi and Faith Wamboi. So hawa wazazi walikufa nini? Someone has lost the life, has lost their parents. Yani watu wamekuwa orphans just for the sake of one person.
It's quite unfortunate. I know it was not intended, but we should follow the rules and regulations that are stipulated for something, and that's why we're pointing fingers at the developers. We're pointing fingers at the officials. It is a two-way traffic. I think the officials wanaidhinisha hiyo kasi inaanza kufanywa, then these developers pay them in return.
Yes.
And at whose expense? Other people's lives. This is a serious issue, and it's a big issue that people should be talking about. The National
National Construction Authority,
National Construction Authority should do better than this. We've had claims, we've had problems since way back. See at imeanza juice.
Yeah.
And we know with a fact, or as a fact, that compensation our victims, it will be a very long time coming.
It will be okay. Sorry to say this, but it might be doomed.
Yeah, it's a long time coming. And even if you compensate them, it does not really show.
You cannot take back the life. Yes,
the life, or you cannot bring back the injured. Or you cannot, unajua kama wewe kijala barubaru kama wewe Peter umekuwa ukibeba koroga koroga paka light floor alafu umevujika mguu ama uliubia mkono, you know, wanakuongeza shida juu ya shida ile ulikuwa unajaribu kutoa.
Inakuwa ni shida zaidi.
Inakuwa sasa ni shida, yani ni kero, ni ghadhabu, sijui nitasema aje. Nimetafuta words za ku illustrate how I feel. You know, I don't know if you're feeling what I feel right now, wherever you're watching us from. You can keep your comments coming and keep the conversation alive on our social media platform, that is WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and tell us, what do you think about this story?
Yes.
What do you think about this? You know, right now, hata ukikuwa hapa na usikie kuna mjengo inajengwa hapa kando, unajua bisi kai hapa. Hiyo mjengo
unahama. Kwa sababu hujui kama itaanguka.
Itaanguka. You know, there's a time even way back, some time in Kisumu, there was a building around Tivoli. There's a place called Tivoli. Ilikuwa inaanguka na that building hapo Tivoli watu ni wengi kabisa. So it was just beside it, so it was being built there. Ilianguka yote. It nearly karibu iangukie watu kwa barabara. Me I know someone very special alikuwa anapita hapo. Ikebwagukia sahi
tungekuwa tunaongea story nyingine.
Tungekuwa tunaongea palelo ingine.
So I think even the government should wake up, because every time tunapatana haya mambo, haya masaibu ya nyumba kuanguka, kuporomoka. So you find that the government comes on wale wanatokea wanasema, wanapeana promises kwamba we shall look at this matter, we shall do ABCD, because juzi by the way this one has come a day after another building collapsing in Kasarani,
yeah.
Na nikaona nani amesema the governor akasema ya kwamba wataangalia so wataangalia kile ambacho kinaendelea. So yesterday again Kimani wa Matangi, the governor for Kiambu, so na yeye akasema akaondoa ile bodi ya kushughulikia mijengo, naona akaidisband the whole of it, and this is not actually since August. This is the second building to collapse in Kiambu County. And he also came on board, and I remember immediately after he was elected to be the governor of Kiambu, kuna building ilianguka in the county of Kiambu, na yeye mwenyewe akawa among the people who rushed to that area, wakaenda kufanya kazi ya rescue. So you find that these things still happening, and wacha nikusomee kitu hapa hivi
tafadhali.
Kiambu County is not new to houses collapsing due to poor workmanship. Underline hapo, poor workmanship. right? Now, last year in October, a 9-story building that was under construction in Roiro, near Tatu City, collapsed. Luckily, no workers were on site because it was on Sunday. So Sunday walikuwa wamechukua break, hawakuwa kazi, ni ile tu kumwagilia nyumba maji.
Inaitwa curing.
So assume it was a weekday, Monday to Saturday. How many people could have died?
We just think tunashukuru Mungu kwa sababu ametusaidia hapo. We didn't have to lose lives. So it is.
Then on August 31st last year, a 5-story building that was under construction in Gachie, Kiambu, collapsed, killing 5 people.
Quite unfortunate. And I just want us also to see, as we promised you, that we are going to look at some of the reasons why these buildings collapse. So this is a story on national news on the Standard that is on page 8, and they say, state regulator at pains to rein in contractors as buildings fall. Over 200 people have died in collapsed buildings since the first case was reported in 1990. Imagine.
The first case was reported in
1990. Kuna wengine walikuwa hajazaliwa. Vile hii sida ilikuwa. Ebo lesa kamera lady kama alikuwa amezaliwa. Tukipata the first collapsing building in Kenya. 1990 mpaka sahi. That is more than 10 years down the line.
32 years.
Imagine.
32 years down the line.
And we could not come up with something that could help us do the same thing.
We have the solutions. But the issue is, they say it is hard to tame a man. It is hard to tame a man. So watakuchezea tu hivi. But the issue here again comes to the government. What are they doing? The authorities who have been mandated to deal with these issues, what are they doing? The cases, I understand that kulingana kuna story nimesoma pahali ya kwamba we have more than 100 people ambao bado kesi zao ziko pending. Hatuelewi, hawajalipwa
compensated.
So and even hawa watu ambao nyumba huwa zinaanguka, ushaiona kesi imeletwa ya kwamba tukaonyeshwa kwa runinga au kwa radio, we journalists tunaitwa come follow up this case, right? So tunaambiwa huyu contractor, huyu developer, this person, the owner of this building, has been charged with this and this and this. Hatujawahi ona such kind of things happening in our nation. Yes.
And just to highlight something here, wanasema corruption and impunity in regulatory system is fueling the rise of substandard buildings. I want to repeat that. Corruption and impunity in regulatory system is fueling the rise of substandard building. And I would like really to emphasize on the two words, corruption and impunity that is involved. And we know it is between the developers and the officials.
Yes.
Now, unajua ile nilikwambia Waswahili ni watu wako na akili kabisa. Kuna ile sei wanasema fahari wawili wakipigana
nyasi ndizo huumia.
Sasa jiulize hapo kwa hii situation nyasi ni gali.
Mwananchi wa kawaida.
Bas ule anaamka asubuhi amepiga kazi, amesimama kwa barabara 5 o'clock in the morning ili tu achaguliwe wewe na wewe twende.
Zinaitwa kuna jina hizo joint huwa zinaitwa. Kuna zingine zinaitwa jobless corners. Kuna zingine I don't know,
they have ile huko kwetu huko Jupali Kapesa inaitwa Mawaso Base. Unaenda hapo una WhatsApp basina zako kwanza kama siku hujapata kazi una WhatsApp hapo.
Ati ukiona huwa wanakaa wanaingia hapo saa 12 asubuhi. Ikigonga saa 5 unajua.
Saa 5 ni late. Saa 3 ile hapa
unajua leo
kubeubala.
Kama ni lunch nitakula story.
Kubeubala. Anyways, just because of matters of time, I'm just going to highlight some of the reasons that have been highlighted here. You can grab a copy of your Standard and look at it in detail. So, why buildings collapse? Poor workmanship or badly constructed buildings.
Kabisa.
Poor workmanship or badly constructed buildings. The poor workmanship hapo likiangalia likaba umeweka, unajua kabiro.
Yeah.
Unaweka hivi, unaona imebelt. Unaambia fundi hapa
haiko sawa.
Pila haiko sawa.
Anakuambia wewe endelea.
Anakuambia usijali hiyo rectify, tutafanya lili, tutafanya lili. Unapata building kuisha. Floating zoning overdevelopment. That is, high land prices means one expects high returns on investment. But before approval, the zoning laws sometimes limit one on the size of building to be constructed. For instance, if the zoning laws provide that the building occupies only 50% of the land, this limits the returns on the investment. So unaona investors, unaambiwa boss, hapa unataka kujenga flat, but inaweza enda only 5 floors. Please, make sure you go within the regulation, 5 floors. Anaongeza mbili zingine because maybe he got that land at a prime place, so alitumia a lot of money. So anataka
arudishe pesa zake haraka.
Sasa anaongeza, and in the long run you lose a lot of money, you lose manpower, you lose lives, you have court cases and all that. In the long run, if you look at the bigger picture, it's not worth it.
So unapata ya kwamba this whereby this person anakimbilia 8 awachane na 4 zote zinamponyoka
kabisa. Mtaka yote ukosa yote, shika moja, shikilia kwa na mikono miwili. Just to continue, because we don't have too much time on this segment. The use of substandard material under reinforcement, and that is nataka kuogela ba foodie, ba contractor,
wale wanaiba simiti,
the site managers, yiji bulapewa quotation ya wamefanya ya building is sufficient, but what they bring on the ground is different because you want to save money. So I think the biggest thing we are talking about here, Peter, ni greed, ulafi eje watu wako nayo. You want to leave some change, yet you're being paid for your services, and in the long run we are losing people, we are losing lives, we are losing investors, we are losing, I don't know.
I think here it comes whereby even mafundi wenyewe wanakuwa responsible because in this scenario unaweza pata ya kwamba the owner of the building ametoa pesa za kutosha. Ameambiwa simiti moja equals to the ratio of one cement to maybe 3 wheelbarrows of sand. Unaona? So but unapata kwa sababu ya hawa fundi anataka kukula sana, anaamua atatumia simiti moja,
anaenda kununua sand ile je you receive the sand
kwa sababu ni cheap.
Ile lazima ufanye hii video, instead of just buying the refined sand and build with it, unachukua ile ya kufanya hii video bawe kubwa zibaki.
At the end of the day unapata pia yeye anakufia kwa ile building.
Lakini most of the constructors at site paleters wanakuanga wako hapo saizi. And just to highlight one or two things, that is the other point would be lack of maintenance. Unajua kama ufanye curing au maji, pengine mnanunua maji, mtu wenye mmepea that mandate ya kununua maji, amwagi maji ama amwagi as often as he should be pouring water. That is kind of, for example, type of maintenance. So you find the house having a lot of cracks and what. So inakuwa shida. Just to highlight more is failing to undertake okay. Kula neno hapa umetumia kubwa sana, lakini failing to undertake geotechnical studies, that is enable one to understand the soil bearing capacity of an area. Expert designers and engineers recommend this phase of construction specifically for the purpose. This would advise on the load. Unajua a specific area unaweza ambiwa this place inafaa kujengwa kitu kama hii, inafaa kujengwa kitu kama hii, usijenge kitu kama hii. Unfortunately our people don't listen. Hizo vitu hatutaki mjenge,
ndizo wanajenga.
Then there is external forces. These include heavy rains, wind, earthquakes, gas explosion, fires, and any other form of impact. That one might be understandable.
Yes.
And in every building site, I think there are laws that you should have, maybe fire extinguishers, runaway point, exit points, for such kind of issues. Then Building overload. Building overloads is building collapses are sometimes due to weight imbalance as a result of occupancy that exceed what a building is capable of sustaining while designing a building. The load should also be taken into account. Usijenge nyumba ile nyumba inaitwagaje? One bed
hapana, si one.
Nyumba iko na jikoni
la self-contained
single. Single na self contained. Hizo alafu mnataka mkue wengi itaanguka.
Okay.
Then developers grid, as we talked about. Then lastly, it's the cube test. My director is saying we are running out of time and we've taken a lot of time, but we are glad that you've been with us on this segment as we were talking about the buildings of death. That is how it's written on the standard.
The laws of impunity. So we shall be right back after the break. Keep tuned. Don't touch that dial.